Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the DC Collectibles, DC Comics Designer Series, Greg Capullo, New 52 Catwoman, 7-inch scale figure. Alright you guys, as you can see from the box here, it is of the newer styled DC Collectibles boxes that they've been doing on figures since last fall of last year. Personally, I think it's a very nice, simple looking box, and it does a good job of showcasing the character along with the accessories. This is number 6 in the Greg Capullo Designer Series line, and on the back we get a preview of other characters in this series. We have Red Hood, Catwoman, Mr. Freeze, and the Thrasher suit Batman, which actually looks really, really cool. Last year we took a look at the Jim Lee version of Catwoman, which came in the Superheroes versus Supervillains multi-pack, and it was a very nice figure that I liked quite a lot, and just beautifully done, very nice looking Catwoman. So this is their most recent take since then, and let me go ahead and get this out of the packaging, and then we'll go ahead and compare them side by side and see how they stack up. Alright you guys, and here is Catwoman out of the box. Right off the bat, she's a pretty nice looking figure. Very nice proportions, very skinny looking, almost a bit cat-like. Very well endowed in the chest area, as tends to be the case with female comic book figures. Unlike the previous version, this one has more of a matte finish to the overall look. And of course, she comes with her trademark whip, which we will look at in just a moment. Here's a close-up of her head. Very bug-like in appearance, given that she has those really big goggles. Now, I don't think that the head or the face is unsightly, so to speak, but it doesn't look particularly great. Her goggles look pretty good, and I think the mask on her head looks quite good. But the skin features, even though I like the shape of her face and the skin color, I think is very natural looking. Her nostrils just look really like red. Her lips are a very deep red, which, okay, she has lipstick, but it's not applied very cleanly on the bottom lip. It almost looks like she's had her lips done or something. It just looks kind of weird, kind of wet looking. But I think the nostrils being red is like the biggest issue I have with the face. But like I said, skin color is very nice and, very porcelain looking. Other than that, it looks quite good. You can see the strap where the goggles are connected on her right there, a bit of her neck. The rest of the costume is very, very nice. It does have a latex type look to it, but it's also very matte in appearance. And you can kind of see her rib cage right in there. So that looks really good. I think the sculpting on it is nicely done. Looks like she's been lifting her weights. Her arms are nice and toned. Pretty nice detail there on her back. You can see like her, I guess that'd be maybe her spine. And just some kind of folds there in the back of the costume. Looks pretty toned in that area too. Her legs look, quite nice and lean. And really digging the boots. I think the boots look really hot. It's really cool. And despite the fact that she has heels, she actually stands quite well. A lot of the time action figures with heels don't stand, but she stands really well even if you rotate the boots around. And I haven't had any problems getting her to stand. In the way of articulation, Catwoman has a ball joint here at the head. You get some pretty good side-to-side movement. Up and down is hindered a little bit, not a whole lot there. Ball joints at both of her shoulders and a good man movement from them. She has bends at both of her elbows. Rotation at the gloves. She has swivels here at her hips. Rotations there at the upper thighs. Bends at the knees. And then swivels at both of her boots. So pretty nicely articulated figure, slightly less articulated than the previous version though, since she doesn't have rotations at her upper biceps. In the way of accessories, Catwoman has her trademark whip, and it's very, very soft, very, very pliable, and I guess it kind of feels like a whip. It actually kind of does. I don't even know if I've ever held a whip, but it feels, like I'd imagine they might feel like. So it kind of does have a curvature to it, but I think it looks quite nice. There is a little bit of detail on it, though it's probably going to be kind of hard to pick up on camera, but you might be able to see a little bit right there. So, pretty nice looking whip. It's got the split there at the very end of it. I like it. And she does hold the whip rather nicely. in her right hand. You do kind of have to pry open her fingers though, because they are very closed. But you're not going to get it in the left hand because, as you can see, it's more of in this clawing type position. And they're actually pretty sharp, her fingers. But, pretty cool that, they mixed it up a little bit by doing two different hands, which is very similar to the previous version. And speaking of the previous version, let me go ahead and bring her in so that we can compare them. This is the Jim Lee version. That is the Greg Capullo version. I think they both look pretty nice in their own ways. As you can see, her suit is much more shiny looking. It looks more like, latex or leather. It just has that very, Catwoman-esque feel to it. Both of them have hands that are in the clawed position. And, of course, they both come with whips. But the Jim Lee version has a whip that's very, very stiff and doesn't really get a whole lot of movement from it, whereas the other one's, very, very pliable. I also prefer the face on the Jim Lee version. I think it just has a much prettier looking face. And I just like the smile that they gave her. Not to mention the fact that with the Jim Lee version, you can actually pull the goggles down just like that. Now that's kind of cool. So you can just have her, with her goggles like that. And I think she has a very sort of retro kind of quality to her, which is pretty cool. However, with the new one thing I do like better about it is that her top, it goes all the way up to her neck, whereas this one's just open. I like this look better. I like seeing the big zipper up there at the top. I think that looks nicer. I also really like the boots on the Greg Capullo one. I just think that they just look really, really good. And her combat boots are quite cool, but, her high heels, I think, just look really, really good. And I'll go ahead and bring in the Greg Capullo New 52 Batman as well. And as you can see, they scale up pretty nicely together. Catwoman is a bit tall, but it's because of her high heels. If she didn't have the heels, no doubt she would be shorter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the DC Collectibles, DC Comics Designer Series, Greg Capullo, New 52 Catwoman. Overall, I'm going to say that this is a very nicely done figure. It is imperfect, but it does have some very nice features to it. I think it does look very comic book-esque. I love that her jacket is zipped up all the way. I think the boots look incredible, and the fact that you can stand her on high heels without too much trouble is a really big plus. As far as articulation goes, she's very nicely articulated. I think that ball-hinged hips would have added a lot of playability here. For accessories, the whip looks really good and she looks nice holding it. And as far as other drawbacks, like I said, the detail on the face, could have been a little bit better. But all in all, this is a very nicely done figure. And as far as how it stacks up to the Jim Lee version, there are things I like about both of them and things that I don't like as much about both of them. So it's really hard for me to pick one over the other. I would certainly say that if you already have the other one, you probably don't need this one. But if you're going between the two, obviously the other one is part of a 6-pack that costs quite a bit of money, whereas this one is just a standalone figure, and you can pick one up for 20, 25 bucks. On a scale of 1 to 5 stars, I think I would give this one 4 stars. It's better than okay, but it's not perfect either. So I think 4 stars is pretty fair for this version of Catwoman. All in all, I like her. I do recommend her to you, especially if you're a Catwoman fan. Then you're going to want to have both versions of the New 52 Catwoman in your collection. All right, my friends, and that'll do it for this video. I encourage you to please like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this Catwoman and how you think it compares with the Jim Lee version. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, and as always, I want to thank you for watching Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, bye-bye.